Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I say this, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me that Hawaii is one of the most beautiful places on the earth, and stands to reason that is why many people love to go there to start a new journey, i.e., a wedding. How do you do that? Seems like there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. Well, you reach out to the woman behind Simple Kona Beach Weddings because she's the professional of the year here, and she's going to help you with that. I'm talking about Becky Ringler, who is back with us. How you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. Thank you. Good to be here. It's a beautiful day here in Hawaii, as usual. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I can say as usual. When the volcano, or we've had a lot of eruptions lately, and it can cause some interesting weather patterns. But today is a beautiful day. Yesterday was a beautiful day, and even when we have a little rain, even with those disruptions, it is like I would say more beautiful than still
Mm.
most other places on
And
the
and
planet.
we've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. With the volcanic eruptions, this is not something where there's lava flowing everywhere. Run,
Oh
run,
no,
run.
no.
No.
It's actually pretty spectacular right now because it's all contained in the caldera, which it in at Kilauea, which is the volcano down to the south. It's there is a little town nearby, but all of it's contained in the Volcanoes National Park currently, anyway. And you can safely go and view it. And it's like apparently the most spectacular eruption since the 50s, since 1950
Wow.
something. Huge fountains of lava going up 1,000 or more feet in the air. I mean, just really spectacular.
Wow.
And then this is like, I consider this a really great eruption because it'll do that for a couple days and then it stops. And then the air is like it usually is, really clean and clear and sunny and bright. And then often when the eruption starts again, we get a little bit more maybe volcanic fog, and we might get some extra rain. But typically, still, by the way, for those worrying, it's still nice at sunset typically for weddings. I don't know why, but that's just a thing here. It's usually nice in the morning and at sunset, almost like I would say 99% of the time. And with
Mm.
that's weddings. So anyway,
Tropical climates are so interesting. I was in the Caribbean recently. Just took a couple of days. I just wanted to read. I'm not even kidding. Just read and just relax and just, kind of chill back. And, one day the forecasts were like rain coming tomorrow, but it rained for like, I don't know, 15 minutes and it was cloudy for a few and then it was okay. So
yeah.
it's, yeah, I'm sure, those who are getting married there might go into mild freak mode when they see the
Oh,
forecast, but it's very changeable.
that that happens all the time, actually. I just got I'd say every week I get a mild freak out letter from a bride. It's like, I'm
Hmm.
looking at the weather and I'm so scared. And I was like, look, I have a little email now that I send to remind people that it's okay. I've been doing this 10 plus years now. I've only had to change because of rain 3 times. The
Wow.
weather app is never accurate. And a 35% chance of rain is 65% chance of sun. So, like, let's think about it. Let's look at the glass half full. Like, just don't fret about it. Plus, like, days ahead is like, when is that rain happening? Like 2 p.m. or something, like, not during your wedding time. So, yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
I feel like we talk a lot about the weather, but the weather, because everything is outside for
Why
a
are
wedding.
people going there? Because the weather is so unique and wonderful. And, when you say you've only had to change it up 3 times due to the weather, that's out of hundreds of ceremonies. Just
Oh,
saying,
yeah. Over 700. Yeah. Hmm.
okay, there you go. It speaks volumes.
Yeah.
One thing that we never, and by the way, I just want to throw out there instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. If you have a question, some feedback, we've never talked about attire. We skimmed that a little bit. Can we go into that? What can somebody wear? What should they wear? The wedding party, all of that.
Yeah. Let's first talk about the bride because I feel like this is a big, but all of these things are good questions. The number one thing I always say is that you need to do what you're comfortable in. So, you can wear the most formal dress as you wish if you want to on the beach. Um, but also, you really want to think, we did touch about this before, it can be really hot here. So, you want to think about the layers and are you going to be comfortable? And we also, on our beaches, our sand has a lot of like little pieces of coral and pieces of lava rock and twigs. And like, if you wear a long train, it's going to pick everything up like a net and get caught on things. And so I always recommend, that you either have somebody to carry your train if you have one, or you can bustle it, or you try and avoid something that's really brushing the ground. Or if you do that, it's a silky, smooth material rather than lace.
Mm,
The lace is the thing that really acts like a net. It's crazy. Um,
mm,
and I mean, occasionally people decide that they just want to wear like a really nice sundress, or like, you can be as casual as you'd like to be. You can be as formal as you'd like to be. Um, I always say that comfort is the most important thing, but I always want you to think about, are you going to be comfortable? I mean, most of the time wedding dresses are not that comfortable, but the point is, like, add the extra factor of you're outside in 82-degree weather. Um, and on top of all that, so just kind of factor all those things in. um and because this, you don't want to be sweaty and like feeling like your ribs are too tight, and there's all these things. And then shoes,
oh,
most of my brides go barefoot, um not to the location but at the beach. um yeah, or you can wear like wedges or flats or sandals. You don't want to wear any spiky heels on the sand for obvious reasons, because you're going to
hmm
just into it. Even if you're standing there, you need like a box heel or something. um, but I always say bring your nice shoes for dinner. But to the beach, you can. Most brides, just especially if their dress is long, they wear flip flops and then they can toss them off and then put on the real shoes later. Same goes for men. Like, you could wear real shoes, but flip flops are perfectly acceptable, especially if you want to go barefoot later. Um, because but some people hate sand on their feet, or they don't want to, so that's fine. You can wear real shoes if you want to, but um, I think the main thing is that the bride and the groom should look cohesive. So if she's formal, at least make sure that you're like, for the groom, that it looks nice with her formal dress. You don't have to wear a suit. Not all, I mean, my husband, I wore a pretty formal dress, and my husband wore a short-sleeved silk white button-down shirt and linen pants, and it looked great together. It didn't look weird. Um,
By the way,
so,
linen is in for men now, maybe for
oh
women. I'm
yeah,
just saying, just throwing it out there.
yeah. Oh, thank you, Steve. Yeah, yeah. So, but you can wear a suit. I mean, only if you don't get sweaty, right? Because suits can be really hot on the beach. Some people don't sweat, fine, but most people do. So a nice short sleeve button down, nice collared shirt is really nice. We have a lot of cool Hawaiian shirts that are also white with a pattern that look really beautiful. And um, you can wear shorts. I don't always recommend the shorts. I don't think they look as good in photos. So linen pants are awesome because they're cool and they look nice.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
What about, for men, a jacket, linen pants could be a linen jacket, right? And the right kind of t-shirt. Would that be acceptable?
Sure. I mean, if that's your style, like that, I think of Don Johnson in
Yes.
right.
I don't
But
want to
regardless,
admit, that at some point in my life I did own a couple of pastel colored suits. I'm just saying, or jackets, whatever.
but yes, you could totally do that. Or just like, I do have a lot of grooms that wear like like a linen jacket or light material jacket, and then a shirt underneath, but the shirt without a tie. So you can also do no tie. Or I have guys that wear a shirt and then suspenders and no jacket, or something like that. So it
Okay.
depends on your style. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, it can look really um, great. I mean, I have had people in three-piece suits. If that is your style and you want to do that, you can, but I think it would be, for most people, be pretty too hot.
And we're not judging anybody. Your style is your style, the feel of your wedding is your thing. But this is a very much more casual
Yeah.
feel to a
Yeah.
ceremony. So for me, it kind of translates to, maybe not the three-piece suit. Yeah, a
Oh, totally.
jacket, you want a little, if that's your thing, a little formality, if you will. But I feel there's ways, for a man to dress up a suit, even just adding a pocket square or just something that's a little more chill can elevate it, but you're not going to sweat, big time.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a huge thing. And the other thing is, of course, you're getting lays. Sometimes there's a boutonniere instead of, not instead of, but in addition to a lay. But most of the time, you don't need that. The lay really makes the outfit, so to speak. And so you want to think about that. Um, And I think you're right. I have had, this is back when I was doing like really, my business model was a little bit different. And I did, when I was first starting out, my weddings were very inexpensive. I did have people show up in like dirty shorts and t-shirts like once or twice. And I always look really nice. And I felt embarrassed for them that they were so underdressed. But I was like, hey, man, it's their wedding. Like, if this is what they want to do, this is how they want to do it, that's fine. I only felt like it felt weird because I felt so so dressed up compared to them. And usually I just am wearing like a long strapless dress of some sort. I have more fancier ones if your look is more formal, and then I have like more casual, uh, beachy ones if your look is a little more casual. I always ask also what they're wearing so don't clash, especially like if they have a wedding party. I
Hmm.
don't want to clash with what everybody's wearing. So, but here the style is really, generally speaking, more relaxed. It's meant to be a little less buttoned up. Um, and and you can even have that less buttoned up feel on the groom's side. And the bride, if she wants to wear the biggest dress ever, she doesn't have to, but if she decides to, it still works somehow in Hawaii.
Oh, okay. You know what? Thank you for saying that because I had that visual, and I wondered, and some men were like, well, I don't want to wear a suit, or I don't want to
Right.
get dressed up. I'm in Hawaii. I'm going to go snorkeling after we get married,
Right.
whatever it is. It's almost like just about anything goes. Phone number, want to give that out, 631-319-6275. Instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. This is Marcy checking in from Ridgefield, Connecticut. She says, have you ever done a theme wedding? Years ago, I was at a tie-dye wedding and I'm looking to get ideas.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have done themed weddings. We have had couples that are really big sports fanatics, or
Hmm.
I would say the most memorable one that we did. This was obviously years ago when Game of Thrones was on, but this couple eloped on, it was on a leap year, and they really wanted this sort of like Game of Thrones themed Hawaiian wedding. Because
Cool.
our theme is usually Hawaiian, like that's where we go, but we can add in little things. So in that case, I changed up the vows a little bit, and we did some special things for them to incorporate this sort of feeling of Game of Thrones. And they also had outfits on that sort of uh, gave a nod to Game of Thrones. So there are lots of ways. If you, I always say ask and then we'll figure it out together. So Marcy, I don't know if I can give you a specific theme, specifically
What
because
about it? What about attire? Like she's talking about the wedding she was at years ago, and that was a
oh
tie-dye
yeah,
thing. What about things that the couple and or the wedding party all wore at the
yeah,
same time?
yes. So um, thank you for that. And by the way, oftentimes the theme here is like Hawaiian shirts, right? So everybody wears Hawaiian shirts and the women all
To me,
wear Hawaiian
to
dresses.
me, I'm going to interject here. For me, kind of a little played out. I'm just, for that's my personal opinion.
It, it can be, but you're in Hawaii and people love
Anything
that.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Otherwise, obviously people pick a color. You can do, I have done like sports teams, like they're really huge sports fanatics and they wear those colors. And
Hmm.
maybe some of the people were wearing the jerseys or attire there.
Sure.
Um, you can, I think the main thing is sort of like, you want to do it so that whatever it is, it looks really nice in photos. So that's sort of the idea. Um, Personally, I think, lots of times people go with all white. I think that's weird at a wedding if everybody's wearing white.
Mm.
But it looks really beautiful, but it's especially if you get lots of colored leis and things, it can look really gorgeous.
Okay.
But that's more appropriate, I feel like, for a vow renewal than a wedding. Um, but I think mainly it's sort of like a color theme that I've seen the most often is that people pick a certain pattern or a certain palette and everybody wears that, whether it's the same clothes or not. Tie-dye is way more creative. I feel like when people get to Hawaii, though, and they're doing sort of a wedding that has a Hawaiian feel, it can limit sometimes the feeling of like, oh, what should we do or what could we do? Like what actually looks good on the beach.
Right.
So that's
You
I
know,
think
I see that. I see that now that when somebody gets there, now they have a better view of the lay of the land, if you will. Gonna grab a call. Hi, can you hear us?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Who's this?
Eric.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get your name.
Eric.
Eric. Eric's checking in from Ocala, Florida. You had a question for Becky?
Yes, I did, Miss Becky. So my fiance is looking to have like a destination wedding. She mentioned like PR. She mentioned, I believe like Cabo. But what are the ups and downs? Like, I'm a little skeptical about it.
So of Hawaii, or because I can't speak to Cabo or Puerto Rico, or do you just mean destination weddings in general?
Just like destination weddings in general, since she wants to have it like away. Like, I'm a little
Yeah.
skeptical about like having it away because I don't really know anybody that had a wedding that's away before. So I was just a little skeptical about it and
Mm,
wondering like, dang, what's the ups and downs about it? Like, what's the highs, what's the lows on trying to have a wedding away?
sure.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And first of all, it is a great idea. It's really fun. But the main thing is that you need somebody on the other side who can guide you. So that's why people call me, because I live here and I understand it. And I got married here in Hawaii before I lived here. So I understand how it can feel really nerve-wracking, Eric. So that's a pretty normal feeling because you're like trusting somebody thousands of miles away in a place maybe you've never been.
Mm,
And yeah, you really want to find a trusted source to help guide you. That person who can give you advice, who can provide all the pieces. Otherwise, it is really hard to arrange things without being there, right? So I know here in Hawaii, and I think in other locations, I offer kind of the whole thing, the whole support of everything, helping you not only with the permits and locations, but the planning and the officiation and providing you with all the referrals you need and organizing everything. You want to find somebody like that, or your life may be a little challenging, unless you go through like a resort, right? You could always go through a resort or a hotel, and they should be able to provide you with that. But if you want to do something a little less formal than a hotel, then you need to find somebody who does something similar to what I was just describing. Um,
yep.
Otherwise, it will be
I
hard.
want to do less than yes. I'm thinking I don't know really too much about a hotel. I don't know if I want to go like resort or hotel. I may want to go to somebody directly. I like that
Yeah.
you can help with a lot of these things that'll take the stress off of me.
Yep. Oh,
Yes.
it's all again. Just getting married alone is a lot of stress,
Yeah.
without a doubt. To the point that we're making here, I just went to Dominican Republic just a couple of days, like I mentioned before. One of the best parts about that trip, you want to know what it was?
Yeah.
When I arrived, I knew somebody there, a coworker, but that was part of why I went there. But we didn't really hang that much. I just wanted just some serenity and peace. He had a driver that he uses, and that person was right there at the airport. Best guy in the world, Javier, and I felt like it was almost like family welcoming me. You're in a different land, and getting off a plane, like, where am I? Where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? That's you. That's how I view what you do. You have a connection
Yeah.
where you feel comfortable. And Javier knew everything. I'm like, where do I get? I need to get some food. I want to get some groceries. Yep, got you right here. What if I want to do this? Got you right over here. Got this, got that. You're that person where that's the comfortable aspect of it, where it's a trusted source and just somebody that you can lean on. And short of a resort or a hotel, where are you going to get that? you know?
Yeah, and that's what you really need. I feel like people say, "Oh, it feels like I have family there." Like that's how I want people to feel like they can call me for anything if anything comes up. I mean, usually it's wedding related, but they know that I'm here in case anything,
Sure.
occurs, and we have a great familiarity, which feels really wonderful. And so, Eric, you'd want to look for somebody who can help you with that, or just somebody who can guide you, because otherwise it will be harder and a little bit nerve-wracking. So look for somebody who can help you with all the things, and that will make it
Sure.
easier. The person should help you when you get off the phone or Zoom or whatever you have with them. You should feel like I can breathe now.
Yeah,
They have, that's how they should feel.
100%. Have you ever had a time where somebody made a radical change to their plans once they got there and saw what was going on, the vibe, maybe where the ceremony might be, and then they kind of changed things to make it fit because they just felt we need a change. Anything like that, even stand out for you?
No, actually.
No,
I mean,
unless things go as planned.
well, no, I mean, but the point is like there's no real like I show them lots of pictures. We go, I would say like once or twice we've changed the location, because I
Okay.
always if there's any like setup for the wedding, like a flowers heart on the sand, or I always meet with them ahead of time at the beach, and we pick out their spot together. I just did that yesterday morning. It's really fun, but I have had, yes, I have had a couple of times where they get there and they're like, uh, gosh, this is not quite what I had in mind, or whatever it is, something
Mhm.
happened, or maybe they had more people than they thought, or
Sure.
they get there and they're like, oh gosh, my mom can't walk this far,
Right.
even though I usually try and prepare them and ask those questions, but occasionally someone injures themselves, right? Whatever. And then I will just take them somewhere else and we'll look at the different spots. I'm not opposed to doing that. I want to make sure people are happy. But nothing like so radical that it's like everything is like thrown. Although
No,
I can
no.
handle,
What you described is exactly what I was thinking. Just these little tweaks once you're
yeah,
there,
not a big
because you can see pictures, you can see video. You don't know until you go, and then when you see the area and we want it to fit your feeling and vibe, and also taking your advice as well. We talked about elopements. What do you think out of, you know, 10 scale, 0 to 10, out of all the weddings you do, where would you put it in terms of people eloping? Just kind of curious.
That's a
Or a
good question.
percentage out of
I
100,
would
out of
say like
100%.
I want to say like 50-50. Like I feel like we do a ton of elopements, but we also do
Wow.
a ton of the others. So it's like people are like, "Do you do weddings for just two people?" I'm like, of course we do. Like absolutely. But then I also get on the other end people that sort of are pushing the limit to the beach, like the 30 people. Ideal numbers are like 10 or less, I would say, just for less stress, if you want to be less stressed, but we can
Mhm.
accommodate up to like 30 people on the beach. That's sort of a magic number, 30 people total, including the bride and groom, for so many things here in Hawaii in terms of private dining options. Like 30 is like the max for so many things. And then you have to go to a venue. So I always say, like, stick to under 30, you'll be fine. Um, and I do a ton of last minute elopements. So people calling, it's like they're here in Hawaii or they're coming next week or like in 2 weeks and they decided that they're just going to elope and can I help them? And I always have space in my calendar for elopements.
Wow.
Um, so I do that on purpose. I have custom weddings. I have several of those throughout the month, but I always leave space for those last minute because this is a spur of the moment place. People come, spur of the moment, decide to do something, and as long as we have time to get your marriage license, I can help you. I can always find a time. So
I'm
yeah,
kind of surprised in a way about the elopements. I knew that they would be taking place, especially at a place so beautiful like Hawaii, but I didn't think that number would be like maybe 50-50.
I don't
Wow.
know. I feel like it's 50-50. I feel like I
Yeah.
do. I think it's around there. It might be like 40-60,
But
like
it's
60.
still a high number. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it's the magic of Hawaii. And like you said, we got people there. Yeah, we're going on vacation. We just like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah, and
cool.
oftentimes people get elope and then they have a big party later or it's a surprise or it's something they want to do just for themselves. Um, and it's the kind of place that it is expensive to get to Hawaii and to stay here. And so sometimes people say, "Hey, I'd rather spend my wedding budget on something just for us." And then we have the most amazing vacation and we can just spend that budget and enjoy ourselves, and have a really special moment. And so that's, I feel like
Mm,
I think why we have so many elopements too. So
wow.
yeah,
What is the best way for somebody to find you, reach you? Just maybe have questions, but I want to pick your brain on it.
yeah. So I would say my website is the best way, which is simple Kona Beach Weddings.com. And just fill out the contact form. I'm here for you. I usually, if you're looking for a wedding, I'll set up a Zoom call. I do paid consultations as well. So if you've got some questions and you just want to, or you're like, have way too many people for what I do or whatever, I do paid consultations because I certainly know about other things, even if I don't do them. So yeah.
You- It's almost like you're the Kona Beach concierge, in addition to the weddings, because you're my Javier. You're the go-to person for anything. And you know what I love too about you and what you do? you call it simple Kona Beach weddings, and you do make it simple. May be complex, but on the surface, for those who are a little apprehensive, nervous, there's a lot going on there. This is a big life situation. You keep it simple, and that's refreshing. It feels good. Yeah.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, that's my goal, to make it feel simple for you. That's my plan. So
Absolutely. All right. I appreciate you being here today. Thanks so much.
thanks so much, Steve. All right.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.